There we go. Now we're live. If they want to come see us, they can check us out on the. It'll be on the. They're not going to miss anything.
They're not gonna miss anything. Very good.
Uh, but how have you guys been doing?
I you know I don't know that I can juggle 7 balls again, but I really wish you'd had the live feed going. I don't know. I'll try it later.
All right.
I mean,
If you, I
I really
apologize to
had them
anybody.
things going.
It was.
I mean, when it's when you get the bowling ball and the chainsaw in there too. It's come on. I mean, anyway. All right. I'll try it again.
All right.
You
Maybe
don't have
can
to
we
be so crabby.
can we can we pra- can we practice for next week?
Yeah, sure,
All
absolutely.
right.
It's been a man. I tell you, it's been like a long, long time. But then again, it's like been a couple days. Time flies so fast. Been so busy, and of course, we really want to do this show. Should we do it daily if we could? I mean, we love doing this thing, but it's like, oh my gosh, man, the schedule starts getting going. I know that a lot of it had to do with just my schedule. My daughter was playing softball, and
Well,
look,
not all of it because
well,
I play 2 nights. My daughter played 2 nights plus practices.
hey, we usually do this thing Tuesdays about this time, and Tuesdays about this time, I've been parked in front of a softball game. So I mean, we've been able to schedule around it pretty good. But look, it's a lot of it has been softball. My daughter and I make no apologies for that, folks. I mean, you got your kids; they're growing up. They grow up so fast. Your discretionary time goes to zero when you got kids. But I mean, you have to make time for those important things. I mean, raising kids it's such a job. So,
Yeah.
doing the things that are fun, the great things, um, that you got to make the time for it. So, and this was another in a long line of great things that I've done with my kids. Just watching her play that ball. So, they she's is a 12 and under league, rec league. This is the last year that she's in 6th grade. So 7th grade they actually have a school team, but they took the championship. They won the whole thing, and they went undefeated. And the whole season, and in the championship, they played an undefeated team, and it was just a whale of a game. So, really, really exciting stuff. And probably the best part was at the end of it. Um, there was a lot of really good sportsmanship between the players, which we don't always see that so much. But there was really something special between these players. It was nice because I got the impression a lot of them kind of knew each other from um, whatever else. And then afterward, both teams went to get ice cream, and I mean they were just pounding around like they were just buddies. So there was no shame in taking second. Both teams, it could have gone either way, just depending on who had the better day. So. But yeah, we came out on top. It was very exciting, but that's over, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the summer with the kids. But hey, I'm glad to be back, and I know Martin has been really involved with his softball.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think our league's a little bit different. So we had 5 teams, and so we had 12 games. So we played some of the same teams again, and then we go into the tournament, and it's 0-0. So you go in, and we played really well. We lost to a very hard team, and it was one of those nights, and it's been awfully warm here. Our girls have been out there playing in 96 to 101
Oh
degree
my!
temperature. Back to doubleheaders.
Oh,
So they just get up, and some days they're on it, and some days they're not. And we ended up coming in second. So that was exciting for the girls. They came in second, and then we just finished up with an all-star game last night, where kind of coaches chose the top 4 of each of their teams, and then we put two teams together, and the first place coaches and the second place coaches coached. And so I was coaching, but I'm also on the board, and Obando Computing did a lot of sponsorship for HGSA this year. That's the Hillsborough Girls Softball Association, and so a lot of late nights, a lot of early mornings with board meetings, but softball's done. My softball is still going on. We are just getting into tournament season for us, so that's I only have to play 2 games this week instead of 5. So.
there you go.
But I know that it's the day after softball season, and as much energy and effort we put into it, coaching and being a parent and being on the board and everything like that, I miss it already.
Well, I've been playing softball too, and it's what do you call it? The octogeriatric. What do you call it? The 80-year-olds. I push the wheelchairs.
Yeah, I can't say it now
I just
either.
had it. I lost it.
Octogenarian and octogenarian, the 80 and under, the 80U.
80 and you, yeah. But I'm kidding. But I love softball, but I can't do any of that anymore. But a friend of mine plays. He plays hardball. He turned 60. I think he quit this year, but he was playing last year. But they could have pinch runners and everything in this league he was on. But
I just spectate. I'm too competitive.
I did have to apologize to my coaches. I was getting a little wild and crazy.
I'm too fat. I can't play any sports.
Well, they had there at the end of the season they had a cookout, whatever, with the kids, and it was like parents versus the kids, and I said I can't do it. I'm just too competitive, and somebody's gonna get hurt, and it'll probably be me. It'll probably be me, but I just can't do it. A couple summers ago, but we were just playing catch, but it was like I wasn't letting nothing by me, man. It was like I was setting the world on fire with that glove. She's throwing it, oh, I'm catching this, and I'm catching that, and I went to catch one, and I had to dive for it, and when I went down, I landed on the glove with the ball in it, and I broke a couple ribs.
Oh,
so and I was just playing catch, so I do not belong in any competitive environment with children, because I don't want to hurt them, but I'll break an arm or I'll lose an eye or something. Yeah. So.
That makes sense.
Anyway.
Yeah. So what have you guys been up to this 3 weeks?
Let's see. I had my daughter had a one of them slimline HP computers I got for like real cheap, like 3 or 4 years ago. Well, a power supply went up, and I don't think it's really worth it because it's a dual core, and I had another one. I had a dual core laptop laying around, so I gave her that so I can get something new for myself. That's how I was asking what model is your Lenovo. I've been looking at the Lenovo.
Oh yeah. Well, mine is a T430S, and the T is the Lenovo ThinkPad series, which I recommend. I've looked at I've used and have clients who use the Lenovo series. And remember, you know how you can pick up a Dell laptop and you can feel whether it's an enterprise version or kind of a consumer version? Yeah. You kind of just get that lightness and that kind of tinniness.
The flex.
Yeah, I just kind of feel like the Lenovo, some of the lower end Lenovo series, the mouse doesn't work right. It just, like, the keyboard feels really weird. Maybe it's just me, but the ThinkPad series, they're all the same. You know what I mean? They have the same keyboard, they have the same mouse. You can feel the hardiness of it. They have that old original ThinkPad kind of robustness to it.
They're the professional laptops because they have like home, some for home, and then the professional. The ThinkPads are in the professional category.
Right. And then the 430 means that it's the 14-inch screen, and the S is a slimline one, so it's a little thinner. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you can get the 430S anymore. I've been looking online.
It's 440s and 450s now.
Right, so that's what I would recommend. And go to outlet.lenovo.com, which is their outlet store.
I've been there all week.
Okay. I think if I remember the salesman telling me that Tuesdays and Thursdays are the days that they release their new lines. Mm-hmm. So if you check out Tuesdays and Thursdays, but the problem with the outlet store is that if you put it, as soon as you put it in your cart, it pulls off the market. So, yeah, so you have to pretty much go and say, I like this one, and buy it with no regrets, and just choose the one that's what you're going to buy.
Yeah, it seems like the prices change. I've been looking at some of the home series, the Y50. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get something with a little better graphics card, but then you're reading reviews and it's all confusing.
Yeah.
And I really don't let them. Do I need something that good? See, that laptop he gave my daughter, I had it hooked up to the TV upstairs so I could watch streaming stuff. And basically that's what I want to do with it, and I don't really have to buy. I could probably get by with one of those Windows sticks. I don't know.
Oh, the copy sticks?
Yeah. But I might just wait a month because whatever I get will have Windows 10 on it. So
Yeah, you can just put Linux on it.
yeah, okay. And how often do you reinstall Linux?
But I choose to reinstall myself.
I'm only kidding.
I know. I
I
Go ahead.
No, I was saying I had my most recent newest PC, which is a Dell i5. If you remember, I got a real good bargain at Staples back, I don't know, 5 months ago, whatever. I tried to put VirtualBox on there. It was horrible. It just crashing left and right. And I put VMware on there, not a problem. VMware worked great. Yeah, VMware player, and I installed I think Ubuntu. Actually, or it might have been Mint. I think it was Mint. Linux, and it works fine. But I don't just VMware. I mean, VirtualBox is not doing too good lately. Not for me.
Really? I don't have any problems with that on mine, but
I didn't on any of my other machines, but that one I did.
Interesting. Yeah, not sure why. I don't know. I had this job. Oh man. Well, see, I could say. I guess it's been a couple weeks ago, where I have taken, and I will be even into August. Taking computers and moving them onto a domain.
Mm-hmm.
And when I do that, you're going to get a new SID from the server, and so you basically if I log in as Martin, and then I log in, and then if I have a domain called abando.net, and then I log in, so I join my computer to the domain, I log in as Martin again. Now, if you go into the users, you're going to have Martin, and you're going to have a Martin, and then .obando. You're going to have two profiles, right? Well, there's a great program out there that I've used before called User Profile Wizard that is from Forensit, ITFORENSIT.com, and it's called User Profile Wizard. And it works great if you're going to be moving a computer from a local account to a domain account. It actually will do it all for you. Copies over the profiles, gets everything set up. Perfect. The scenario I had this last couple weeks was I had a user who was moving from a domain. So they were going from a domain to a local machine. In speaking with Liam, I believe he tried to use this program to go backwards and it didn't work so well. So, and I knew that going into that. So one of the things I was like, well, worst case scenario, you create a new local user account, you just manually move over their data, you just got to move over all their email and all their settings, and it's a pain, but yes, you can do it. Well, I had completely forgot that I had purchased Fab's Auto Backup. And I thought, well, let me give this a try. And I had used Fab's 4, but I bought Fab 6. I remember Fab's 4 being really good, but not using it all the time. You know how especially me as a tech, I'll find a couple products that work really well, and if I'm not using them all the time, I'll forget about them. So I remember Fab's 4 working. And then I bought Fab 6, and I thought, well, let me try this. I was amazed with how it ran. It backed up everything that this user could possibly need, and when I put it back onto the profile and I exported it back out, all the user needed to do was make 2 phone calls. He had to make a phone call to his mail client, which we weren't providing email. Another company was. He had to call them to get his email password, and we had to reset up some shares that were local, that were printed, that were on the server we just made locally. It's things like QuickBooks, where the QuickBooks file was. That was it. I mean, this is a gentleman who I've worked with in the past. Don't think I've ever met once in person, but whenever there's something wrong, he'll call me, which is fine. I have no problem with that. But he's kind of I don't want to say high maintenance user, but for me to get in the car, it's going to take me 45 minutes to get to where he needs to be. And he's not there all the time, and I need to make sure he's proficient. He's one of the owners of this major company that I work with, and I haven't heard from him. A couple little things here and there, things like getting his email set up and calling him when he came back. But Fab's Auto Backup 6 Pro worked great, and I was completely impressed with how it worked and how it handled.
Did it take long?
No, I think to export everything, it took. I'm gonna say it probably felt like I'm gonna probably way overestimate it, because when you're sitting there watching it and it's scrolling through, it had 397 items to do, but that includes like a PST and all that kind of stuff for this Outlook. I think it maybe took 7 to 10 minutes to make a full backup, and I may be over exaggerating that just because I was sitting there watching it thinking this is taking a while, and then exporting it about the same. So I don't know. I mean, I bought it a while ago. I don't know the price of it right off the.
It's worth every penny.
I was completely astonished with how well it worked, and
I'm not.
well, the thing was is it's one of those products that I remember purchasing and saying, oh, I remember this working, and I've used it maybe twice in the past.
Yeah. That it's one of those programs that if you don't use it every day, every time you use it, it's like, wow, look at that thing go.
Yeah.
It's like, because nothing should work that well, that easily, that quickly. But I mean, that's just one of those great tools, for techs, made by techs, and that guy got it right out of the gate. I mean, he's made improvements over time, but if you never used it, try the free version, see what it does. I punted up the cash quick for that, and it's been been amazing. I love Fabs.
Let me ask both of you this. All right, my daughter's computer. Now, of course, I couldn't get it back up, but I got everything off her hard drive. Now, will that back up? Will Fabs work off an external drive? To get the information.
Yes.
Does it? I didn't.
I'm pretty. Yeah, because it will. Now you're not gonna be. Of course, Fabs doesn't pull keys or anything like that. Cause all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, just her stuff what she had back.
Basically, what
data.
Fabs is doing. Fabs is just going into the the user profile, and it's just yanking everything out of all the usual places.
Right.
And of course you can and of course but instead of like copying over the entire user profile, it's only pulling over the stuff that of course, the obvious stuff, music folder, document folder, video folder. But it goes in and pulls out specific settings. So like your desktop wallpaper, and I'm trying to think what off the top of my head, but all those all those little settings, all those little things. Yeah, exactly. And so it really automates a lot of those little things, and so it doesn't have to be a live, it doesn't have to be running to pull all that kind of stuff.
She had about 80 gigabytes worth of stuff, and I wanted to back up her Chrome, and I wasn't sure. I found it in the with the app data, the bookmark thing, and I guess there's two of them in there. I guess for a guess, and I backed up both of them, and I put it back on her, and it did it right. But I was just wondering if I used Fabs, because it took a while to back it up. I did it all with one of my USB toaster, but I was wondering if I used Fabs, would have been any faster. I don't know.
Yeah, Fabs will do Chrome settings and bookmarks. But if you sign into Chrome, by default, it's syncing everything with Google. So if you sign into another Chrome, it should pull all of that down.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have her password, and I don't think she uses it all that much, signs into it all that much. But I did get her. I did, and she's satisfied.
Well, that's all that matters.
Yeah. See, I don't. You guys do this for a living. I don't, or I don't even know if I ever used Fabs. I might have way back in the day just for myself. But see, I just don't. It doesn't pay for me to. Because I avoid fixing computers unless they're mine. Look, I didn't want to fix that. This slim line here. Ouch. I tried to jump the power supply, and it still wouldn't start. But it's like it has a the 24-pin connector. It's like mini, and I can't. I was trying to test it with my multimeter, but I can't get my things in there to test it like that. I think if you do the green wire and a ground, you can often get it to start.
Right, ground out that green.
Right, but I did it where it's got a block for the the front panel connectors, but I did get the green, the power one, and I cut that and I tried to jump it. It wouldn't do nothing. So, and I saw them online for like anywhere from like $30 to $60, but to me, you're putting something into something, and it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. so I can get it. So I gave her mine, and I can get a new one.
Nice. Nice.
I-
I met with one of my kind of a new client. We've talked in the past. They've got it's a school. They currently have one school, and it's flat, and the network is flat. So they just have I didn't set this one up, but they just have their ISP comes in, goes to a router, and then taps to another router and taps to another router. So there's not a domain. All the laptops are in a work group. There's not a student network there. They all just print. It's really kind of flat. Well, they're now moving, or they're bringing on another campus. It's in another building on the other side of town. Now this building already has wires. They've got a patch panel, and so we did get permission from their network IT staff to just use the patch panel. We're not going to tap off their network. We're actually going to bring our own network, but just the infrastructure of the patch panel with cables and then outlets to the individual classrooms. And they said, yeah, go ahead. So I wrote up a proposal this last week and covering everything from them. And I've been looking a lot at the Ubiquity Ubiquity wireless stuff.
I hear everything. Nothing but good stuff from everybody I talk to.
I know. I at one of the other schools I work at, we use Arrowhive, and we've run into some issues with them. They're pretty expensive. They're between $500 and $600 a piece. Arrowhive is cloud-based. Your controller's in the cloud. Or Ubiquity, you need to have some place to put your controller. It doesn't need to be on site, but you need to have some place. A good friend of mine who's also in the same field has deployed Ubiquity into multiple locations for multiple clients, and what he does is then he has a server on site at his office that he runs Ubiquity from there and controls all the other sites from that one server. So I wrote him up a proposal because with Ubiquity you need they are power over Ethernet, then so you'd need a PoE a provider off your switch, and then they are thinking about doing, well, the nice thing about Ubiquity is you can do VLANs, so then now you got to look at a VLAN switch and a VLAN router, and so I gave them options, and now we're looking at a computer also to go along with that. So unfortunately, these options are pretty big. I wrote a note with the proposal, and I said, here are just two major options. We're really going to have to a la carte this and figure out what the best way is. Another way that I thought of that we can work right now, because what's going to happen in 3 or 4 years, they're actually building a building. So we're going to take these two sites, they're going to be made into one. So how much money and resources do they want to put in this one? Yes, if we buy Ubiquity and we go with that now, that will be a nice foundation for the future, but where's that looking at right now as far as financial? Do they want to spend all of that money on hardware, which will probably work in 3 to 4 years, but yet now it's going to be 3 to 4 years old? So trying to find that out. And so one of the other options was to just do something like just a regular, get some nice routers in there, and then off those routers run the open mesh clients, and that would then be the student network. All of that is fairly inexpensive. Can it go to the new building? Yes. Will it? I don't know. So now do they feel like they're maybe going to, they're basically just buying gear for short term? So a lot of different options, especially when you have a client that's going to be moving in about 3 to 4 years and building a building. But that was one of the things that I needed to work on this over the last couple of weeks, was just writing up a proposal that was going to cover kind of both sides of the same coin and figure out which one's going to be the most cost effective and which one's going to be better for long-term use.
Sure.
Which I found a lot harder than I expected.
Really?
Because there's just so many variables. At least for me.
Yeah.
So, but I found out, I wrote it up, and we'll see what the numbers, what it comes out to be, and we'll go from there.
Cool.
I was looking at Ubiquity for an access point before I upgraded the router. I was really looking into it, but it looked a little complicated for me.
Yeah, they're definitely. You can use them for home stuff, but they're not made for that. They're more, I would say more small business, enterprise level access points, because you can do things like VLANs, and they are power over Ethernet, and there's so many other different stuff with them. It's things like you can go onto Amazon and buy their access points for, I think it's like $250 for 3 of them. So they are fairly inexpensive, but you still have to get a nice VLAN switch and a VLAN router, so.
Well, at the time, I had that that Fortinet, which I think it would have worked with that.
Yeah.
Well, but I'm real satisfied with this, with this Asus here.
And I always spell ubiquity wrong, but it's UBU. I just lost it because they actually shortened their their domain name. That's UBIQUITI. And if you go to their website, it's ubnt.com. Tim, we were joking. I think it was the last episode about how we wish that we had. We kind of joking around about Dungeons and Dragons and the 12-sided dice, and we kind of wish that we had some dice.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. You could, just when we get to the end of the diagnosis, the flow chart as we're diagnosing it, and you get to the end and you have no resolution. You just throw the dice, and that's your repair dice.
Right. Well, we got an email, pcdice.com. It says it's a new novelty product that is techs realizing that with using PC Dice, they're actually standard. They actually stand a chance of resolving problems.
Which ones of you blanks of blanks out there took this idea, had some Chinese manufacturer fire it up, you're selling it, and 3 weeks later we come back and you're trying to sell us our own thing. Which one of you? I want to know who in our audience did that. It's I'm angry and I'm impressed. So,
but it looks like there's 3 of them. There's a red one, a green one, and a blue one. The red one looks like it's operating systems. In the picture, it shows Unix and Windows, and I would guess it probably has Mac and stuff. And on the green one, it looks like it's problems. So video, virus, memory, and then the blue one, it says like no idea and $signs. And so, you roll it and say Windows has a video memory or a video issue, and you have no idea what it is. And there you go. There's your solution.
That's fantastic. Good.
So PCDice.com. You can actually. It looks like you may be able to. I don't know if you can create your own. I was trying to look for a price here. Oh, you can actually get it on your iPhone.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's that. I'm sure that helps most of our audience.
Right. So $20, $19.99 for PCDice.com. So PCDice.com, $19.99. Get yourself a pair that you can just, kind of figure out what's going on.
There you go.
So cool. I thought that was when that was sent to us, I got a good chuckle out of that.
Oh, that's great. No, it's fantastic.
All right. I would assume that anybody watching this show with us has actually probably seen the 6 Star Wars episodes. The 6 Star Wars. You got the 3 new ones, which are okay, and you have the 3 original ones from the 70s and 80s, right?
Right.
So found this. It's called Star Wars 1 through 3: A Phantom Edit. Okay. It's 2 hours and 5 minutes long, and it says a condensed version of the prequels, cutting away all the fluff and focusing on the narrative of how Anakin became Darth Vader. All it is, it's a YouTube video, and it's the actual movie, but they just cut away all the fluff. He says, I haven't had a chance to watch it all yet.
I think I saw some of it.
But I thought for 2 hours and 5 minutes, I could probably sit down and watch all 3. Just skip all the junk. Being a Star Wars fan that I am. Well, being a Star Wars fan that I am, behind me I've got Spud Tater and.
Oh yeah.
So, I'm impressed with this. So I did. Well, I will have to watch this.
Well, you guys.
How long is it? You go through all 6 episodes, cutting away the fluff.
No, it's actually just the first 3. I apologize. So it's the first 3, not the original 3. I apologize. The prequels, the Jar Jar Binks and all of that stuff that happens.
Okay.
And Darth Vader, how he became. What about Terminator? Are you guys into that? I'm into Terminator a lot.
I don't think I ever have been.
Oh, I love it. It came out so long ago, the original one, and Arnold's going to be in this one tomorrow.
So you're talking about Genesis, right?
Yes. Go on YouTube. There's a pretty cool thing. Arnold's out there. I think he's like in California. I think maybe Vegas. That the wax museum, Madame Tussauds.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know if they have one in California, but anyway, he's posing. People think it's actually a wax figure, but it's really him, and he's scaring the people, and it's pretty good. But the movie looks good to me. But I've always been into that. So
Yeah, I'll put a link in the show notes. It says Arnold Schwarzenegger pranks fans by posing as Terminator wax statue.
It's funny.
It's pretty
cool.
good.
Yeah, that actually is pretty good.
I'll be back. Oh, no,
I'll be back. So, okay, this one, we were talking a couple shows ago regarding unlocking couple of the computers that I had, and Tim, you had mentioned Conboot, and we had talked about PC Unlocker and some of those other things, right? And we looked at one of the ones that I looked at was PC Unlocker, and remember I came back and I said it didn't work on this computer because these were Windows embedded machines. So I ended up having to use Conboot off of Ultimate Boot CD and looking at the prices, and I said, I'm just gonna. And you said, hey, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, no questions asked. And I said I was gonna go ahead and take them up on that, and then get Conboot. So I emailed. Let me pull up my email here. I emailed PC Unlocker right away. Not right away from our talking, but let me pull up this email here. All right, so I emailed them on June 7th at, oh gosh, what time was it? It wasn't I don't know what time. I'm having a hard time looking at anyways, I emailed them and I just said, hey, I'd like to request a refund on my order. That's pretty much it. And the gentleman says, thanks for contacting us. Could you describe your problem in detail? We do our best to help you get PC Unlocker to work as soon as possible. And I said, and I know. And I just told him, I said, there's a 30-day...
a complete non sequitur. It's like paper, plastic. I'll have... it's 70 degrees.
Right.
It's just a complete non sequitur.
So I just said, I said, there's a 30-day guarantee, correct? And I said, after using the product, I see that it's close to another product that I use and I don't need duplicates. And he says, which product is close to PC Unlocker? PC Unlocker is a unique tool on the market that can not only reset Windows passwords, but also bypass the local Microsoft account password without overwriting the password. Thank you. And he said there are many Linux applications that access the Windows SAM and change the passwords. And he says, hi Martin, here's a list of our features that are not available in Linux applications. Supports UEFI booting. Reset domain user password on domain controller. Support Windows 8 and 8.1. Bypass the Windows passwords for local and Microsoft account without resetting or modifying the current password and more. Thank you. And then I said, thank you for the list.
Thanks.
I still would like to request a refund. That's when it ends. Nothing after that. On the next day, I said, I'd like to follow up with you on this. I then emailed 15 days later and said, thought I'd like to check back one last time. Or actually, before that, I said, conversation was dropped off. Like to see if I'd be issued a refund. So it looks like I went through my checkbook and my bank and stuff, and it looks like I was never charged for it. But they just up and stopped, and they took off that free 30-day guarantee off their website.
All because of you.
Well, I don't know if it was all because of me, but
You think you were like their first sale, like their first and last sale?
I don't know. But what if they had said no, or I don't know if they would have said, but
You know what? Clear cache, clear the cookies. Maybe it comes back.
But I think what really irritated me the most on this whole process is that they were so willing to push me, and I'm like, that's fine. I understand it. They want to make a sale. I get it. But then they just stopped communicating with me. Like they haven't even responded to any of my last emails since the 9th. No, and I've sent them, hey, just want to follow up with you. Just checking in. Nothing. They didn't say we're not going to charge you. They didn't say not a problem, we'll issue a refund. Not, well, we're sad to see you go, but we did say that here's a 30, we do have a 30-day refund. Just
Yeah.
nothing. They just up and dropped off the face of the earth.
That's got to anger you.
And
It would me.
like I said, I don't think I've been charged for it, but you would think.
Still.
So, anyways, it's PC Unlocker. I don't want to slam them, but the experience that I've had with them hasn't been so great.
Well, if you really need PC Unlocker, I know where you can buy a used copy cheap.
Say it falls out of the back of a truck or something.
Yeah.
All right, well, Martin, that brings up kind of a similar problem at work. We had a gentleman that worked there in the office, and he got let go. And he had some important stuff on his computer, right? And but they wanted to do everything legally. I said, well, I can I can get this stuff off for you if you want, Anyway, so I brought a Linux disk in, and I just put it in my computer. So sure enough, I can boot up, and we're on the domain and everything. There's probably about 6 or 7 other people who will log on to my computer sometime when I'm on. No problem accessing any of their files. But he didn't want to do it. He's the boss. He wanted to go through their proper channels, legal channels. So, but the Linux worked beautiful. I mean, Ubuntu worked beautifully. When I put it in my computer, his was the same thing, Core 2 Duo, whatever, HP, and I could access everybody's files and local files and everything. So.
There you go. Hey, I remoted into a machine here, and I can confirm that Fabs will back up and archive files from
cool.
a slave drive. So.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It was just so slow. It was just slow from. See, when I originally backed it up, I backed it up on my Dell. I had it on the desktop, and I tried to do it over the network with her computer, with the one I'm giving her. And that was just really, really slow. So I wound up putting her hard drive back, hooking her hard drive up, her old hard drive up externally to the laptop I was giving her, which was faster. But I'll try Fabs next time.
That's cool. I had listened to, I forgot about this show, but on June 10th, let me rephrase that. I had forgotten that they were going to be interviewing this gentleman, but Floss Weekly, this is a Twitch show, Floss Weekly, which is hosted by Randall Schwartz and Aaron Newcomb, interviewed the gentleman from Veracrypt. And this was a really good show. I was really impressed with it, and he came up with the gentleman from Veracrypt came up with a lot of good information on it. So Veracrypt, if you don't know, Veracrypt is kind of the spin-off of TrueCrypt. So a couple years ago, TrueCrypt, the developers, for whatever reason, decided that they were going to be done, and they just stopped. They put up a thing saying, find somebody else, we're not going to be supporting this anymore. Yes, you can still find, you have to look, but yes, you can still find version 7.0. I think A is the older version. Now, if you go to the website, they have a new version, and the new version on TrueCrypt, the new version cannot make any TrueCrypt files. It can just extract what you currently have. Okay, so then this gentleman took Veracrypt took TrueCrypt, spun it, and created Veracrypt with it. Well, a couple things. One, Veracrypt is out of France, so the laws regarding privacy are different in France as opposed to the United States. So there's a lot more things that they can do with the software that that we don't have to here. But it's a really good episode. They ask very pertinent questions regarding why did you do this, and is this legal? Because there were some questions on whether or not Veracrypt can spin off of TrueCrypt, because TrueCrypt, since nobody knows who owned TrueCrypt, nobody knows the developers of TrueCrypt. There's been speculation, but nobody's ever come out and said we are the developers of TrueCrypt. Therefore, how can you take something and spin it off if you don't have the permission from the owners, if the owners can't be found, so a lot of gray area. I've tried Veracrypt. It looks just like TrueCrypt. They've done a really good job of making it consistent. It's not TrueCrypt, but the interface is the same, which which is pleasing. It's cross-platform, Mac, Windows, Linux. They've taken some of the issues, and these are like nerdy issues that don't fully understand. Kind of the small, minor details of possible if everything were to line up TrueCrypt problems, and they've made those better.
That's right. Everything that Martin doesn't understand must be nerdy.
I have to go back and listen to it again.
That's where the line is drawn.
That's not even true. There's so many other people out there. So many other people out there that are more nerdy than you.
It's like everybody driving faster than you on the highway is a jerk, and everybody driving slower is a moron. No matter what speed you're driving, your speed is the correct. Anyway, go ahead.
No, of course not. But if you want to listen to it, the links will be in the show note. But it's a Floss Weekly, FLOSS. That's free and something open source. It's number 340. So what he does is, so TrueCrypt was on version 7.1a, and I think now if you go to the website, I think it's B and B only extract. So, check that out. I thought it was a really good interview. News that came out this month. Did you hear that Malwarebytes acquires junk web removal tool?
Yes.
So I guess the gentleman who wrote JRT is now hired by Malwarebytes and is actually working for them. So
good.
That's gonna be exciting because I'm curious how they're gonna of course put it together with Malwarebytes and.
Well, I mean, good. I'm glad he's making money or monetized it or whatever.
That's true.
That's what I meant. I think Malwarebytes. It's still. I think it's a fine program, but man, you go to their website now. They got 15 different things for sale. It's head scratching. What? Wait a minute. What? Maybe I need that, or maybe I need this, and I'm looking. It's like, and I don't know. Why can't I just run a thing? It's become. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff there, so it's kind of scratching my head a little bit. I haven't been to the website in a while, and so I'm looking. I'm like, wow, where did all this stuff come from?
But if any one product was so great, and I love Malwarebytes, why would we have to use Hitman Pro or Junkware Removal Tool or Adaware?
Yeah, but should I download 5 different things from Malwarebytes? Anyway, I'm still a big fan. Still love the Malwarebytes.
Yeah. I got a full version on my wife's computer.
Still trying to figure out what some of those other programs are when I need them. But anyway. Right. That's good. Yeah, I mean, JRT is one of those. What a success story. I mean, it's because it was the right tool at the time. While the Malwarebytes, super spyware, whatever that is anymore. I mean, they were fighting. It was fighting all the old infections. Like, what are the infections now? I mean, it's all social engineering. Click this. Browser infections, and so it seemed like Malwarebytes was always a tool that you ran. I still run it just to make sure everything's out, but I mean it doesn't do a lot of the cleaning like the JRT and the of course ADW. I mean those things do the heavy lifting.
Right.
So focusing on those browser exploits is that's where they should have been a year ago. And I tell you what, I've had a couple bad ones come in the last week or so.
Real quick, I have an issue with my Dell laptop wirelessly. Not laptop, my desktop. It's wireless. Like I'm browsing online, and then all of a sudden it can't access anything. But yet I'm in TeamSpeak at the same time. Couldn't ping anything, and it was acting like my drivers weren't there. I would go into the properties of the adapter, and it say you need to install drivers, or to that effect. So what's going on with this? And I rebooted. I installed the drivers, rebooted, and let it reinstall the drivers. Then it was fine. But as a weird issue, I'd never, unless they got corrupt or something, but it reinstalled. It seemed to be all right.
That is weird. It just went away.
What's that? What do you mean?
Said your drivers just went away?
I don't know. They were there. I was showing I was connected. I was still in TeamSpeak. That was working. but the browsers, I wanted to make sure it didn't put it, I was infected. It put a proxy in there. I wanted to make sure it was still set on the HCP, but it wouldn't go that far because I click on it, it would say you need to install, or I can't remember the exact wording. It's just very strange, very weird. And I'm running Emisoft, a full version of Emisoft. I have a copy of that for a year that I got from Kerry Holzman, and it seems like it's pretty good. I mean, unless that's blocking something, I don't know, weird. But I did put one of those. I had that I put that cheap. Remember, I put that dual band wireless USB adapter in, and it didn't. I didn't like it. I don't know if that was called. I uninstalled the software, but it was the one I think you talked about. I forgot that cheap brand. You mentioned on one of the shows that it wasn't working too good for you either. I think I can't remember. TrendNet, exactly.
Yeah.
And it wasn't working too good. I mean, the best I could do was like maybe 325, 350. But it is the longest distance from here. But then sometimes it wouldn't even start up. And I had to unplug it, plug up back in, but not fine. Just uninstalled the whole thing. So I don't know if that's causing some residual issues with the built-in one.
I don't know. One of the things that happened today's only Tuesday. It's been so long. It must have been the end of last week. I woke up to mini virus notifications, and I thought, oh man.
Is it multiple or miniature?
Mini.
Sorry, multiple across multiple sites.
Ugh.
And I thought, oh man, this is first thing I think of is this is going to be a long day, because if I'm seeing a couple, seeing some now, it's just going to get worse, and people are going to call me. I was getting these notifications from my GFI, my managed antivirus. So I go in and I realize, okay, it's a DLL file within QuickBooks, and it's throwing some errors, and I just, I'm always like, well, let me go ahead and release it now, and I'll watch it. And sure enough, within the hour, I saw some Google Plus post in that the GFI antivirus, the Viper antivirus, had put out a bad patch, and they were false positives. So they were blocking QuickBooks. So that got resolved really quick. But it was one of those things where I thought, oh man, and I only heard. I heard from a couple customers, but I just quickly made an exception because I knew it was probably. I thought more than likely it's going to be a false positive. And I thought, if it's not, then I'll go back in, made myself a note, and I'll go ahead and take it out. But back on Malwarebytes really quick, Mitch, you had said that you run Pro on a couple of on your wife's machine.
I have a full version. Actually, I got it before they went to the yearly thing. I got it from Mike Smith when I went to see him last year, and I have it on her computer now.
Right.
It works in the background and everything.
Yeah, and I've got Pro on a couple of my computers as well. Well, I just came across this as well. It's Malwarebytes. This actually came out today. Anti-malware Premium Configuration Guide. So it's a guide that will walk you through what each tab does, how to maybe configure it so it works well, and you can tweak it. But it's the Pro version for the Premium version.
Premium, yeah.
So I thought I'd throw that out there. It's a nice little guide for that.
Cool.
One more Malwarebytes that I have. I just lost it. Oh, again, yesterday, Malwarebytes is going to offer free keys to anybody who has the premium version, and it was acquired in not the best way. Basically, instead of punishing pirates, Malwarebytes is extending an olive branch. They're calling it Amnesty Program, and here's what they're going to be doing. They're going to offer free product keys to anyone who uses their software who might have obtained their current key through a less than official channels. It doesn't matter if you paid for the unscrupulous seller or a shady key, or if you happen upon a Malwarebytes key posted on Underground Forum. They'll give you a 100% legit key, and let you activate Malwarebytes Premium at no cost. It's good for 12 months, and that they're hoping that then you'll go ahead and you'll realize how good it is and buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
So here's I put a.
See, the one I have is lifetime, and it's still good.
Right, but since they've switched now,
yeah, it's a yearly.
They're offering you a free 12-month subscription.
Right.
I thought that was nice about
it. That's yeah. I like that thinking. I mean, that's
Well, I think
You-
you get it when you buy that yearly thing. I think it's good for 3 PCs, I believe. My buddy has it. He bought it. I got him to buy
Oh
it.
yeah, yeah. And I wasn't going to talk about this, but then I keep running into it. I've had clients, and you guys may have had clients too, where so Chrome, the way Chrome now works is every tab is its own process in Windows, and the reason they do that, it's actually its own process in an operating system. But the reason they do that is that a tab or a web page may crash, but without taking down all of Chrome. You can basically, so they've sandboxed it out, right? The problem is that if you have a whole bunch of tabs open, then it's system resources, because Chrome sometimes isn't the best about releasing system resources, and then you end up with just this huge system, that's bogging down, very slow, and it's all because of Chrome. I came across this plugin called the Great Suspender, or the extension. Now, what this does is it actually will suspend your tab after a certain amount of time. I have mine set to an hour. So it won't suspend pin tabs, and it won't suspend tabs that contain certain unsaved form inputs. So if you're in the middle of typing out something on a form and you walk away in an hour, that tab will still be open. They're not going to suspend it. But what's nice is that if you walk away from a tab for so long, you can go back to it, and it says this tab's been suspended. You click on it, and unsuspends it. It brings all the data back up.
Interesting. I like it. I like that there's something doing that. Seems to me like a problem that shouldn't need solving. But yeah, Chrome it's a hog. Whatever happened to you, Chrome? Was your selling point? You were small. You were fast, man. You were like, you're getting in there. You're getting out, man. You were the thing you used when nothing else would work. Now you're just like a pig.
Yeah.
That's what happens, man. You fall in love with something, and it turns into a fat pig.
Are you using it on Linux,
Mm-hmm.
Martin?
Mm-hmm.
Regular Chrome, not
not Chromium.
Okay.
Regular Chrome. Yeah, I could go back and forth between Firefox. I have Firefox installed as well that I use for some other things. But I just find that I have a lot of all my stuff in Chrome.
Yeah.
I use it. My systems are all i3s and up that I use, so I don't really.
But it's a RAM issue. I have
Yeah.
Machines here that have Chrome running on it. I open Chrome, open Fire. I open Chrome and it works, and I just use it. But I have an older laptop with two. It's Windows 7 with 2 gigs. It's like, wow, what happened here? So it's like, I'm all back to Firefox, which suits me fine. I have no problem. I love Firefox, and it's finally come back around where it's a fairly usable product.
I haven't used that in a long time, except for on Linux.
Don't make me go nuts. I'll install Opera.
I used years ago. I'm sure they still have it. They had a real good chat client in there in Firefox. Now I don't know if it was an add-on you had to install, but you had to do some of the command line stuff. But it was good. You got to learn it, and me and Uncle Al used to play with it, but I haven't messed with it in a long time.
Was it just the IRC chat within Firefox?
Yeah, it was IRC. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But you might have had to install. I don't know if it's by default you had to install or a plugin or what. But it was good. It worked good, and you got to really learn. Of course,
Chatzilla?
I forgot. Yeah, I think that's what it was, Chatzilla.
Opera makes me nervous.
I don't know if I ever used that. Maybe
it's
one
too
time.
good. It's too good.
I had on my phone.
Who's using it? Who's developing it? Every time I install it, I'm like, wow, this is really great. This is awesome. And I'm like, why? Who's using? Who's developing this? I come back every year. I'm like, I'll try this again. I'm like, I don't know. It's way too good for nobody to be using. It's
I'll put it on the
something
phone.
Right there. Something ain't right. Maybe it's I don't know. It's like a aliens or I don't. Opera, of course. All kidding aside, I've always just installed Opera. I tinker with it. I think it's always been probably the best browser out there, and I will say it's the best browser nobody's ever used.
Is it ad supported? I can't
No,
remember.
I mean, well,
No,
it's like
okay.
it's like just like Firefox, not really ad support,
Can't
but
remember.
I mean, it had all kinds of great, a lot of features that you see, that eventually make its way into these other browsers. I mean, Opera was doing all that kind of stuff first. I mean, I'm trying to think when it was a couple of years ago. They maybe it's been longer than that. But they had a torrent a torrent downloader built into it. I mean, that
Oh
was
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah, yeah.
slick. I mean, they did all kinds of really neat stuff, and so I don't know who uses it though. That's what I was joking about. I don't know. It makes me nervous, but it is. It's a super cool browser, and every time I install it, like I
People
know,
that download torrents.
I know it was the when the splash page when you open the browser, it has like like I don't know, big buttons or what do they call it? I don't know, just recently used or whatever, that you can click on. I remember Opera doing that first, so I mean that's a small example, but yeah, I always thought that was a really neat browser.
I haven't used it very much.
Me either.
This just,
Well, it's mostly like nerdy, anything. It's like nerdy stuff
or unless you're on a Mac.
on a Mac.
Oh no, that's Safari. Never mind.
If you're on a Mac and you get an iPhone, just get your repair dice and you're set, dude.
Done. Done. This just started coming in. Cisco will purchase OpenDNS for $635 million in cash.
Well, say it again.
Cisco purchases OpenDNS for $635 million in cash.
Really?
So looks like OpenDNS is trying to step up their security game.
That's some moolah.
Yeah, not stocks, not stuff. It actually says in cash. So there's somebody working late to try to figure out how many zeros needs to go. That's a big check.
That is a big check.
I wonder at what point in the dollar amount do you actually have to supersize the check and get one of those giant like Publishers Clearinghouse checks? Is there a set, or can I write a check on one of those giant ones for $1? Or is that costing? I mean, does the paper then cost more than the check?
I think you can. I mean, I think you're gonna look like kind of a jerk giving somebody a big giant novelty check for $1.
Well, I'll take it into the bank, try to put it in the ATM.
Gosh, good luck with that. I don't know. I've had no call for this conversation, but
Walk into the bank. I like
is
to
that what they
deposit
do? Is that what they do now? When one giant corporation buys another, they could do it with a big novelty check.
Why I would? Why wouldn't you? I mean, if you're going to spend that much money, get a novelty check. And if somebody gives you grief about it, you said, "I'm sorry, I couldn't understand you over my $635 million that I'm purchasing this company for, and I still have room,
What'd you say? I can't hear you over my $635 million.
This giant check's blocking you out. I can't hear you."
Oh man, I'd like that in $600 million bills. 6 of those. I need the rest in 5s.
That's right. And it's kids got to eat lunch this week at school. Can I get some ones?
It was $635 million and 85 cents. Well, who gave you 85 cents? Everybody did.
we took a collection. Uncle Al in the chat says that he switched from OpenDNS to Google DNS. Yeah. So, but Google DNS, is that for filtering or just for, because not just necessarily for DNS, but for filtering, content filtering. Does Google DNS do content filtering? I mean, as far as I know,
you have to get an account for that.
Oh, sure, but that's.
Yeah, but the only thing I ever did was use their DNS servers. That's all I ever did.
Right. Well, we use OpenDNS for content filtering.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they do. I'll have to look into that. What else did I have? Let's Encrypt is coming out. This was one that came out earlier in the month. This was going to be one of the, hey, coming up soon next month, and then next month became tomorrow. Let's Encrypt. That is the not backfunded, but spearheaded efforts of the EFF, the Mozilla, the Cisco Corporation. That is where they're going to offer you a free SSL/TLS certificate for your website. Now, this is not an EV cert, so this is not an extended validation. This would be for if I wanted to just secure, obandocomputing.com. This would not allow me to secure support.obandocomputing.com. Does that make sense?
No. But
Okay.
I believe you.
So what? Because that's a subdomain essentially, and that's where you need an extended validation that covers kind of everything. But they're offering it for free right now. EV certs can be kind of spendy, but what the whole push is to go ahead and implement HTTPS all over the place. And so Let's Encrypt is going to come out and give you a free SSL cert. So that's cool. And they're saying that very soon a certificate can be obtained for free of cost. However, an extended validation certificate can cost you up to $1,000. I'm not sure at that number because Steve Gibson uses DigiCert. Is that who it is? There are hundreds of, if not thousands of companies out there that provide SSL certifications, whether it's DigiCert. I mean, OpenDNS does, Network Solutions does. They probably buy them from somebody else. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So you, even though you may be buying your SSL cert from GoDaddy, GoDaddy's probably providing you a certificate from I can't even think of one. There's one right there on the top of my. It's a big SSL cert company that comes out. So, anyways, they just would resell them, and I can't. It's going to come to me. So it sounds like Uncle Al in the chat said he doesn't want the filtering. So yes, I use I use Google DNS myself when I don't want the filtering or don't need the filtering as my DNS provider, as opposed to my local Verizon or Comcast or Frontier DNS solutions. But when I do need the filtering for some of my clients and the schools, then I use OpenDNS both for filtering and for actually their then DNS themselves. We did have some emails.
I got one more thing I want to throw out there real quick.
Well, you can anytime you want to preach it.
Yeah, I reposted this on my Google Plus page about a week ago, but I want to mention it real quick. That particular story was about how someone could gain access or hijack your email with nothing but your email address and your phone number, and it's just another social engineering thing. Basically, the point I want to make is that, I've seen an uptick in unsolicited text messages. I've seen it here, my friends. I've seen reports. This story here, and so basically, look, if you get an unsolicited text message, treat it like a spam email from a Nigerian prince. If I know I don't have to say it to this crowd, but if you get a thing from UPS saying it's from UPS, well, you just go to the UPS website. Obviously, if you get a thing from Comcast, if it says it's from Comcast and they want you to, just go to Comcast website. Obviously, don't respond to quote unquote stop the text, because. Well, you've just verified that's a good a number to send a text, but yeah, it's nothing good can come of these unsolicited text messages. They're just phishing, and so I just want to throw it out there. I have seen an uptick in those things, and so it's just another social engineering scam. Please be very cautious of those, and warn your friends, your family, your customers, the whole thing. So
yeah. This is one thing I just thought of. So, through softball, we needed a way to forward emails. So we have, U8 coordinators, U10 coordinators, secretary, scheduler, umpire coordinators, and so on. So what we've been doing is just using, but they don't have an email provider. they're just hosted through, I think, Network Solutions or something. Somebody local, I'm not sure. And so what they need is they just need email. So I turned them over to my email server. We just redirected their MX records to me. So now they do straightforwards. But then as far as lists go, we have things like, Webmaster and the board and things like that. So what happens is my mailing list is all Linux based. It uses Mailman. And there's some tweaking that has to be done with it, and I've gotten it to work okay, and it works fine. But then, whenever if Mitch and Tim were on the board, what happens? They would email in. It would get held. I'd get notified. It would get held. I'd have to go in and say, okay, allow Mitch, and then allow his email address to always email this, and then it would pass through. And then the problem we run into is that there's two distribution lists. There's the board, and then there's Webmaster, and Webmaster is myself and another gentleman. But they'll include the board emails. They'll include the Webmaster in the board email addresses when they send it out. So I got to go in and release one, and then wait and release another, and then go back and release the original one. So it just makes this big mess, and it's something I've been fighting with. And I thought, I have such good luck with just the hosted Microsoft Exchange in the cloud. The E1, it's $4 per user per month. And I have a lot of clients that are on it, no problems. And I knew, but we have so many forwards. We have like 14 forwards and 10 distribution lists. We don't really need email addresses because they're all being forwarded. So I emailed my rep and I said, hey, this is what I'd like. How much just for, because I know that distribution lists and aliases are free, but how much just for forwarders? And he said, what? And I kind of explained my situation. He says, oh, they're a nonprofit, right? I said, yeah, they are actually. We have a nonprofit ID number and the whole thing. The E1 licenses, which is just email. It's not, you can get super discounted rates for like the whole Office suites, and I have a couple of my clients who actually do that, but just the E1 licenses are completely free. So, so now I'm in the process of, probably tonight I'll finish it up, moving them off my server and just making it more efficient, because what happens is somebody will email, and then if I'm not next to my computer or a place I can do it, I can't release their email, so then it doesn't get answered because it's never been released because it's held in a queue, and that's just not efficient at all.
It's a pain.
it's a huge pain. So if anybody's looking for a Microsoft rep, I have a great one. That they can contact. He doesn't work for Microsoft. He works for a third party, but they're a platinum Microsoft partner, or the platinum plus bedazzled or whatever. So I call him with any issues, and then he contacts Microsoft because he's got a better line to their tech support than I do. So if you are a nonprofit and you need email, Microsoft will provide you, at least for me through my rep, cheap and free email hosting, which can't beat that. And then it's in the cloud, and you can hook it up to your phones and tablets and wherever you want to go.
Nice.
So I did find that link or that email or that post. Sorry, Tim, you were talking about the simple trick requires only your phone number to hack your email account.
Yes, that is it. And of course, the simple trick is it relies on just an unsophisticated user taking the hook. That's how phishing works. So, speaking of Microsoft, well, it's a week or two ago, Steve Ballmer, that guy was on Conan O'Brien. Gosh, that guy
wound up.
Does anybody miss him yet? No, I don't. You?
No,
I don't think anybody does. Like, what a whack job.
Yeah,
he likes basketball, that's for sure. Well,
good, stay there.
Enough to buy a team, but
that's fine. I mean. This anyway.
Yeah.
What a ridiculous human being.
Well, I think what he does is well. I think he had a good vision for Microsoft. I think he was a good force behind Microsoft. He was just that guy that you're like, okay, can we slow the train down now? No.
Really?
Hey, we're gonna jump off the train.
Really? Did he have a good vision?
Well, I don't know.
I really don't want to start that conversation right now, but it seemed to me like I don't know. I really don't want to get into that now, but
that's
if you could sum it up in 45 seconds,
which I can't.
He took a rap for like Windows 8, I think, when it first came out, didn't he? They blamed him for a lot of things. It really wasn't his fault. I'm just saying.
Whatever.
All right. Hey, how about I read some emails?
Please do so.
Are they from Steve Ballmer?
They are not. One's from Darren and one's from Brett.
Well, bring it on.
Here they come. First email. He said, I'd like to clarify, this is in regards to, Tim, I think you were talking about Big Love on the Discovery Channel.
No, it was me.
Oh, it was me.
That's right. I forgot about it. I saw that email.
He says, I'd like to clarify that Big Love is not about the LDS Church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but Big Love is about the FLDS Church. There are many differences between the two. In this case, it's that the LDS Church does not practice polygamy, and the FLDS Church does. Love the show. Keep it going. Sorry, no tech question.
Oh, okay. Well, fair enough. Thank you.
So
What's
he
so
just
funny?
For me, because I just watched the whole series, just finished it, and the question, it was pretty good.
All right.
So I didn't know that, and so thank you, Darren.
Yeah, FLDS, Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Okay. All right. Well, there you go. Hey, Hey, I like it. Theology.
All right. Number 2, Brett Hans from Brett Hansen. He says, this is a little long one, so he said, hello, I just finished Geeksters 143, where you talked about Pixie Service, and at the end you mentioned a guy listening to 3 of your shows in a row. I found it very funny as I deliver pizzas right now and have been listening to your shows while I drive for the past week or so. Your shows are very entertaining and very helpful. He's only at 143, so hopefully he doesn't that doesn't sway his opinion when he gets to 160. I've been a tech all my... Nobody laughed at that. Okay. I've been a tech all my life, and at 24, I'm finally deciding to go into computer repair as a business, instead of just doing it for family and getting $20 for a full system install and upgrades. I've been trying to do some research I've been trying to research what would be good for starting a toolkit such as D72 and a few other things such as what would I charge, and I think I'll be getting into the Technical Business Starter Kit along with D72. I've done a lot of research on how to start and what I think my target clientele would be residential, because of my one of my weak points is the software end of networking. Granted, I enjoy learning new things. I should start with what I'm good at, which is software and hardware and troubleshooting, along with installations of both and build from there. The main reason for this email is to thank you guys for the knowledge you guys have on the show and on the show. And if you have any pointers for someone just starting out, I would love to hear them. And thank you again, and have a great day, Brett Hansen.
Well, yeah, I can answer that in about 15-20 seconds. So, well, that's a lot of. There's a couple of big questions there, isn't there?
Well, he's asking for it, so it sounds like he wants to know, hey, are there any toolkits out there that you guys would recommend? And he's mentioned D72, which it's going to be a bit up front. I have to tell you that. And one of the things that I've learned, okay, if you're just starting out, Brett, one of the things that I may suggest is maybe not dive into D72, and here's why. And I'm not saying because D72 is an awesome product, okay? It's a great product, and in the long run, it's going to save you a lot of time and effort. But if you're just getting into this, are you going to be able to financially put down that much money and then know that you're going to recoup it? I would say from a financial point of view, from a place of just starting out, maybe find out what those products are in D7 that you use a lot. JRT, Malwarebytes, Patch My PC, ADW Cleaner, Hitman Pro. Those are all products you can get individually. Now, I'm not going to, and I don't want to shortchange Nick Shaw, because I think Nick is a great guy and his team that's behind him makes great products. But if you're just starting out and you don't have the ways to put that money down, don't get yourself into debt right off the bat for this. What I would say is get those products, start making some cash, and then buy D72. And now what you can do with that D72 is now you can work faster and more efficiently and then make more money, because now your time has, the time to do a job has shrunken way down, but yet you're charged the same, if not more, per hour. So D72 is a great product. The Technical Business Starter Kit is another one. There's all your forms, there's all your paperwork that you need to do, things that I struggled with when I first started out. You have forms that clients can sign, you have forms, legal forms, you have all, just all your documentation. Who does Technical?
Bryce.
Yeah, so he's come up with this great program and all of these forms to do that. Another set of forms that's out there is from Matt Rainey, and I wish I remember the name of those forms. But he's got forms too What is the name of his site?
I don't.
Somebody will have to look that up. But Matt Rainey has some forms out there as well that you can purchase, and those are forms for, maybe no, those are he's got forms for like networking and routers and switches and stuff. But you can modify those or use them in different ways that help you. If once you start to get to a point where you are making a decent amount of money and income is coming in, I would highly recommend get yourself a bookkeeper. That's my opinion. I have a bookkeeper. I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. And
Well, I would agree. I would agree. Yes.
It's and some people don't, or get some way of doing it. Maybe invest in QuickBooks or there's a couple free ones online. There's a couple. The Squid Network talks about a couple of ones that are free.
Mhm.
So those are things that in the years that I've been doing this that I would recommend.
I you know what I think I agree with all that. Really, it's I think that it's very easy to spend a lot of money on a lot of things we talk about. Uh, I wish I could point to certain episodes, but the common thread through all of the Podnuts shows, coming up, the Podnuts does with, when Steve started his shop, Steve Cherubino, was that you don't, and all the texts that were coming on, I mean, everybody kind of came up the same way, is that you don't need. That was the great thing about this about doing this, was that you didn't need a huge investment to get started. I mean, of course it was mostly desktops at the time, but even still, we're still fixing a lot of kind of the same stuff. You don't need much more than the hand tools that you got laying around a normal garage. You don't need many more software tools than are available either for free online or for a free trial. Whatever. You can start this very, very inexpensively. There's so many awesome tools. And the kind of things we're talking about. They're for really automating a lot of the process, and that's what the D7 does, and that's what Martin's GFI does. GFI is amazing, but it wouldn't make any sense for you starting out, for anybody to have it. I don't use it because I don't do that kind of volume. I don't have those kinds of customers that need that that constant attention. I don't have people on monthly monthly plans, and so it's I would tell you to my advice, probably what I did, the best advice I ever got and used and felt very successful, was that I did everything as cheaply as possible. I only bought what I needed when I had to, and what you find is that as the money's coming in and it's not going out, or especially as you have to pay down debt, debt has a way of really gosh, what's the word I'm looking for right now? The excitement that the excitement that you feel as you're getting into this, and you're really fired up about it. Debt has a way of really popping that balloon quickly, and so I only bought what I needed as I went, and I know that I didn't grow the business quite as quickly as I could have if I was made a huge financial investment up front and was really focused on that. But I would just kind of just find the tools that you need. They're all online. As far as an actual list, I'm sure there is one somewhere, or I know that occasionally we throw out some of the stuff that we use, but like I said, I wish I could point to specific episodes, but I mean that was really the common thread with Steve coming up and everybody else coming on, was that we didn't buy the corner lot with the building and in the storefront and thousands of dollars worth of equipment, man. Most of us just started out working out of the back, the trunk of our car with just very common tools, the free stuff, and the best advice I would give anybody is that, one, if you say you're going to be somewhere at a certain time, be there. If you can't be there within 5 to 10 minutes, call them and say you're going to be late. Two, if if you're going to say you're going to do something, just do it. And if you can't, just be honest about it and say, I can't do this. If you know somebody who can, that's even better. But don't BS anybody. And and three, whatever you do, just do it the best you can. If and let the chips fall where they may. That's the best advice I can give you and anybody. Do it. Just do it. Do what you say you're going to do. Do it when you say you're going to do it, and do it to the best of your ability. And being honest.
Yeah.
If you do those things, you will find that you attract good people to you, and you will. I found that I've repelled bad customers from me, and so it's a very easy way of doing business. You don't have to think up stories and.
Good advice.
So that's where I'd go with that.
Honesty is a great one that you brought up.
One more thing.
It's tough. It's tough. It's not always easy, but it's easier.
Right.
Learn networking. That's a must. I would suggest read everything you can, and I'm not saying you go ahead and take the A+ certificate, or I guess the Net Plus is still around, but learn everything you can about it. Read all about it, because that's what hurt me. I didn't bother to get into the network side of it. I mean, I can network at home, but it's different than what Martin does. Learn Microsoft Exchange, Active Directory. To me, that's a must.
And get plugged into the community. I mean, Podnuts. Yeah. That's what we do here. We pretty much have a show that caters to just about everything, and so there's a lot of great resources here to tap into. So that's what we do here.
Right. There's two books that have been recommended to me over the years. Jeff Hallish recommended both. One's called The Pumpkin Plan, and one's called Profit First, and they're both by Mike Michalowicz. Anyways, Pumpkin Plan, and then Profit First. They're both good books. Unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to read them all yet. Don't. You will have a tendency, and I'm fighting this right now because I'm moving away from this. You will have a tendency to think that you're not worth as much as you think you are. Remember that people aren't paying you to push a button. People are paying you to know what button to push. So charge what you're worth, not charge what you think you're worth so that you can keep a customer. Because what's happening now is I'm trying to get away from that, because all my customers that I had, when I raise my rates, they're throwing a fit. And I go to leave them, and they're like, no, we want to keep you. So now instead of as a bad analogy with this, instead of them working for me, now they're just kind of slowing me down. Does that make sense? Because I could leave them, yes, but then I would kind of look like a big jerk. So I stay with them, and really now I have to put a lot of energy into forcing them to move along with, managed antivirus, and forcing them to think about bigger pictures, and forcing them to think about how they're going to be able to make their network better and not think like a mom and pop store. And actually, I had to have this sit down conversation with one of my clients the other day, and I was going to leave him. I gave him my notice, and I said, I think we need to go our separate ways. And it was the first time we actually got a chance to sit down face to face, and we've talked but really kind of lay it on the table. And I said, one of the reasons I am leaving is because every time I recommend a product for you, or every time I recommend a solution to you to one of your problems, that you come to me and say, how can we fix our spam? How can we fix our antivirus? How can we fix our slowness on network? I say, here's what we can do to increase all of these things. Here's how we can decrease spam. Here's how we can make things better. Here's how we can make things faster. You say, and whose paycheck's that supposed to come out of? That was your response. And so I told him, I had to tell him that. I said, every time you ask me to do something, I give you a number, and you want to know where that money's going to come from. And if that's how this is going to go, then this isn't going to work out very well, because you're always going to be wanting me to fix something out of nothing, and you're always going to be wondering how come it's not working right when nothing doesn't work right.
There's only one answer to that question. Whose paycheck is that coming out of? And the answer is not mine.
Well, yes.
Right? I mean, that's the bottom line.
You're right.
You can't go into McDonald's and say, hey, I'm hungry, but that's not coming out of my paycheck.
Right. So I know it's a lot of advice, Brett, but if you hang around Podnuts and listen,
and
to
some of it was good.
Yeah, I mean, at least, I think we hit at least 7% of that was really good stuff. So, hey, and that's better than normal for us.
Oh man, it's yeah. Hey, look, I mean, just dive into it, man. You ask as many questions as you can. Have fun with it. Try and save your pennies. Because that's the money. That's what it's all about here is making money, and so you can't make it when you're spending it, but you know,
Well, but you have to spend it to make it. But that's later on.
but you have to spend it wisely.
Right, right. If you listen to Podnuts Daily with Jeff Hallish, he talks to a lot of small business owners, and that would be a great place to listen to.
Exactly. Absolutely.
FreshBooks is the accounting software I was thinking of. So
Very good.
that was a good question, Brett, and I know we gave you a lot of
Good
information.
question.
Great show tonight.
Yeah. So, Mitch, if people want to get a hold of us, send us an email, send us a voice message. I think I stand by the phone every Friday night. I'm sitting by the phone waiting for it to ring, and nobody ever calls.
Yeah, sure. Come on and send us your emails at geeksters@podnuts.com and send us a voicemail at 707-6-PODNUT. That is 707-676-3688. And operators are standing by right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Before we get to Tim, I have one more thing I forgot to mention. itjetpack.com. Last Monday, so yesterday and the next 3 Mondays, Jeff Hallish is hosting kind of a round robin. It's free with fellow technicians, and they go over discussion. It's man, who was there? It was Ken Dwight was there. We had
The virus doctor.
the virus doctor. Corey Fruitman was on there from Instant House Call. Ian Alexander from Repair Tech was on there. Pierre from Microsoft Canada was on there. It's just a round robin thing. It starts at 9:10 a.m. Eastern time. So people like me, that works out great because I can get in there and do it. They're free. You sign up, you go live. It's web-based. You don't have to worry about any plugins. If you go and you sign up, the yesterday's is already online. You can just download it and you can watch it at your own time. But itjetpack.com. Check that out. So that's another resource that I wanted to push out there for people to go. If you don't have nothing to do on a Monday morning, here's a great way. And then if you are going to go to Chicago like this guy is, there is going to be a Podnuts or a podcaster meetup in Chicago. So if you are planning on going to CompTIA's ChannelCon, I will be there. Tickets are not in hand, but they're digitally there. So I get to meet Jeff Hallish and some of these people that I've never met before.
Nice. When's that?
When? August 2nd through the 5th, something like that. So I'll be doing a red eye. I'll be doing a red eye there, and then I'll leave at like 10 p.m. there and get home at 1 a.m. here. So, yeah, which unfortunately means, as of right now, that I probably won't make it to Ohio Linux Fest just because that's September and then October and.
Well, just stay.
Jeff, I'm coming to live with you. I'm gonna come just hang out in your house. So, all right, Tim, if you want to get a hold of you, how's the best way they can do that?
I'm Tim Bauermeister from the G Plus, so you can send me an unsolicited text. Either way, I don't care.
Awesome. I'm Martin at obandocomputing.com. Obando Computing in the chat. Mobando in Gmail. obandocomputing.com is where my site is online. Hey, everybody, thank you again for coming and hanging out with us. Thanks for bearing with us, and we're going to get our schedule probably a little more back on track now that Tim's not such a slacker and decides to hang out with us. So. But, we'll forgive him this one time.
I wouldn't.
All right, guys. Have a great week, and like we always say here on Geeksters, don't forget to stay gruntled. Take care, guys. Bye.
That's a wrap.
And that's how we do it. Oh, speaking of that's how we do it, there's a gentleman on our last year's softball team. The other coach and him got into a huge argument. Like, I thought fists were gonna fly. Just snide remarks, and finally he said, "I need you to stop," and the guy just got up in his face. So this year they played against the team that beat us, and as soon as the last out, he stood up and said, "And that's how we prove it." Like, from the way in the back on the bleachers stood up and yelled, "That's how we do it."
Mic drop.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, I got into it with our workmate Friday at work. Oh, it's just annoying. Just stupid. I'm talking to. It's break time. I'm talking to. We have a lot of older people work there. I mean, you think I'm old? I mean, I'm talking to the lady. She's doing moves for me out in the warehouse. She's like almost 70 years old, but you wouldn't know it, But and then the guy comes in. He sits with us every day and goes, "Man, I'm sick of you guys. Every time I come here for lunchtime, you guys got to be talking about work." I say, we'll go. I'm not going to say the words I said. We'll go sit somewhere else. I'll give you a couple bucks. And I mean, it was just really normal. I just calling names and stuff like that. Anyway, and I mentioned to my boss. I said I went off on what's his name because he's very annoying. They all know he is. Anyway, so 2:00 that afternoon, they called me back in the office, and he's in there he wants to apologize to me, which he did. He does. That's fine. But anyway, so Monday come to work. He gave me a stylus, for a cell phone or a tablet or something like that, a stylus, and a patch cord, which I got millions of those. So I just, it's all right, John. It's all right. Everything's cool. I think he got a Radio Shack. They're closed. It was like the last day. They closed up out here, but it's just very strange. Very strange.
All right, to all the geeks out there, if you have an argument, just give a VGA cable. Nothing says I'm sorry like a VGA cable.
Oh, unbelievable!
Wow, I have a box full of sorries.
Exactly.
Crazy.
All right, guys, I'm gonna have to get going here.
Yeah, me too. Hey, it was nice doing the show. Nice seeing you guys.
Hey,
it was good seeing you guys. Let's do it again sometime.
Hey, I think we should. It's a date.
All right. See you later, boys.
All right. See you,
Bye.
fellas.
Thanks, chat room.